This government meeting is brought to you by Eastworks and our local cable subscribers.
I am going to call the Easthampton Parks and Rec Commission meeting January 14th, 2026 to order at 6:00 p.m. First on the agenda is public speak. There's
No one
from
online.
the public online. So we will skip over that. Next we had election of officers. John and I talked before the meeting, and given that we only have 4 members here tonight, we would like to table this to the February meeting if everyone is in agreement with that. Next up is policy and fees. So do you actually have a packet passed out too? So you want to start with policy or fees first?
We'll go with fees because it'll lead into policy. I sent everybody the income report to see what we did and where we're at, and it was another great year for the park. The only thing, our mission has always been to make sure we stay affordable for families, and I think we accomplished that. The only thing I was looking at increasing were Millside Park or daily field events, because when Millside shuts down, we're going to get a lot of functions that are going to still want to hold bigger events. So looking at increasing those fees and then adding daily field for 2026, part of 27 if it gets into that far. We're the only ones looking. They're as usual up for discussion or comments if you're interested in adding, increasing our fees. That's on the table. The only concern I would have is at this point of where this money goes and how we're being supported are not being met as of yet. Going the line for a year.
I just want to add, for anyone who might not know, the reason why Millside Park wouldn't be available and we're going to use Daily Field is because the construction for the skate park that would be happening at Millside would prevent us from having events there, which is why this would be for this year. And then, potentially it could be another option in the future. But certainly for this year, we want to have people who come regularly for events during the summer, having a space for that to happen.
And especially after the 100th anniversary celebration, it was really great to see that field being used again for concerts and how accommodating it is for folks. So I think it rejuvenated us to kind of bring some of those things back on our own level, but as well as rental groups that want to have bigger functions.
So we'll start with the places where you have highlighted. So those are suggested increases for those. Does anyone have any questions about that or suggestions for a different amount?
I know you were mentioning the difference in the pavilion stuff and the kind of thought behind residents preserving it for out-of-town guests.
Yeah,
Is there any?
they have to prove that the resident has to come in with ID and a bill. So, whoever walks through that door and signs the paperwork, there's nothing we can.
There's nothing beyond that. Okay.
No.
But that person is then responsible.
They're the
for
ones
anything.
responsible for
Yeah.
it, which is always good, because when the resident signs for it, it's an easier way to repercussions if there is damages or anything like that when it's a resident.
Okay. Ultimately, it's the gazebo. You're saying 375.
Yeah, And we also, well, I guess that goes, we can,
For non-residents is being increased only, is that the highlighted then?
no, they're both resident,
There's no
Resident-
difference.
resident,
for
non-resident,
those.
yeah, for the gazebo, there's no,
Oh, okay.
there's difference, and it's just nonprofit's a separate one.
Okay.
For the gazebo itself. Man, Millside. One of the things we did add for Millside, in the policy is an hourly rate is available. We get requests for like, a business at the mill, saying, we want to have a cornhole tournament for our company for 2 hours after work one day. We're certainly not looking to charge them $300 or whatever for something like that. So, we'll look at a fee structure that kind of accommodates what those smaller type events are and things like that. So that was added into the policy.
Yeah, and with the two kind of regular like banquet function hall spaces in town, one being shut down, the other one being kind of up in the air, will probably be a good deal more type of parties in the park.
Yeah, that's a great point. Yes, because
Yeah,
it's and that's another reason why it's good to keep ours affordable, because those were affordable options for folks, those two facilities, and to have those shut down and look at 4-figure rentals elsewhere, it will get more folks in here for sure.
That looks good, and I think putting off the other potential fees next year is a good idea.
Revisit them.
Question about just the pool. You probably don't have it with you, but I'm wondering, do most people do day passes, or are most people doing the season pass?
We had a lot of season passes this year, a lot. Sam would have the exact number because she keeps all the
record of the cards. Yeah.
the record of those. But yeah, season passes were way up compared to years past. I mean, before the upgrades, I mean, we might have had 5 season passes. I bet you we were just going off the top of that, probably 40, if not more. It was well, I was sure. It's a great value too for folks. It works out well.
One thing I was thinking of, thinking about if there's like a late spring event at the school, having a table, how we've done park passes at school events, like selling season passes for the pool, just because you get people who are excited about summer and making plans for the summer. And I think, there's still people who will be like, we have a pool in town. It's tough. Like people who aren't in the park for sports don't necessarily know what the facilities are. And so I think that would be a great way to advertise.
Yeah, we can always do a Saturday soccer day, and one Saturday, maybe Little League field the next Saturday or whatever, and just kind of put a banner out there with just all information. Not just the pool, but everything.
Get more people to sign up.
Yeah.
Well, people will sign up on a whim too if they're down there like, oh, season pass, that's easy. Instead of
And I think I think a lot of people went with the season pass because it was so crowded the last 2 years there, that now you don't feel like if you have a season pass, you can go in there and take a quick swim. You're in there for 15 minutes, you can get out. If you pay the $4, you're hunkering down for a while and saying, hey, we're staying for at least 2 hours here and enjoy, whatever, if it's $20 for the family. So, that kind of helps having more people on season passes, because it kind of gives a rotation of people coming in and out.
What is considered a child for the pool pass and entry?
I think it's 12. Because there's it's signage down there, because if you're, what is it, you have to be 13 without if you're 12, you have to be with an adult.
Yeah.
So I think it's 13 and they're not, if someone comes in and says, an adult with 2 kids, we're not asking for IDs or, questioning if they're 14 or whatever. It's what it is. Yeah.
Is there any, additional perk for like a season pass holder versus a day pass? Like, are you hitting where you're not letting people in because you're at max, but if you have a season pass, like you kind of reserve your spot maybe on like a hot day where
No, we don't reserve spots for having a season pass. It just gives them the flexibility to
come and go?
come down and, on a whim
Yeah.
and just get cooled off or whatever it may be.
Did you get a lot of non-residents?
There's a ton,
Yeah.
I mean, just from being at the pool with
There's
my kids,
a-
there's.
It's,
So is that problematic with the residents? Do they ever? No.
No.
They don't complain then?
no, I mean, there's only, and we have 4 guards 95% of the time, which is the max is 100 people, that can be in the pool area anyways. Maybe 5 to 10 days out of the thing, there's might be a line where people might have to wait. The 4th of July is that weekend, and 4th of July is a Saturday this year. So I was just staying far away from Montauk Park that weekend, so as possible, because I think I already had an actually pavilion call today for July 4th. I think it's going to be crazy, and so that's where it's, one of the things we were looking at, and I talked about it last year, is reducing the fee and doing 2-hour bands, 11:30 to 1:30. You have an orange band at 1:30. It was only $3 or whatever, but you're moving along. So we get people rotating and sitting, having 60 people sitting in there, and we only have 40 spots that are open for people to come and go. So we're still discussing that and looking at that. And I'll talk to security and the returning pool people and see how they feel about that.
Pay more money if you want to hang out longer.
Yep.
Man, I was thinking we could put in cabanas like Vegas style. Those could be reserved.
I like
It's big money for this park.
John's.
Ice cream service? Yeah.
So if you guys want to make a motion on, if everything looks good on that.
Change in fees, increase in fees?
Second. So we have to do roll call because Brian's online. So Brian,
Yes.
Eric,
Yes.
Kira, yes. Motion is approved unanimously.
Okay, the policy, in yellow, once again, the stuff that we added kind of changed. There wasn't a 30-day notice for larger events, which is because of the logistics involved for events over 500. Our security work schedule gets done once a month on a monthly basis. My staff itself pretty much knows their entire year for which days they're working. We know what the busy days are. So for logistically, for us to prepare for larger events, we need 30 days. It's 14 for other things like a play or a small concert of 100 people or something. And then we didn't have a cancellation policy. We have a cancellation policy in our pavilions, but we didn't have one in the mill side for some reason. So that was an oversight on my part through the years. So I did add that in there. And then the hourly rates and then the new fees were the other thing that you guys just approved. And then renters must be in good standing. And that actually was added last year, but for some reason I left it high there. Questions or thoughts or concerns on the policy on that?
Nope. I like what we're being more accommodating and allowing the hourly.
Yeah, I think that's a good thing for folks that, utilize that space for such smaller.
So just question, since weekly renters are available for registered brick and mortar businesses located in Easthampton. So what about, I want to have a kid's birthday party with outdoor green space because my yard isn't big enough and, set up something, not like a formal game, but like a like relay races and like cornhole or whatever like that. Is that included in this, or is this just for like employee, like business type events?
So that would be in the hourly rate and, something
So
like
that you
this.
would accept those as
Yes.
well? Okay, just because it looks like it's just for businesses, and so I don't know if you want to change the language a little bit to make clear that other people could request it.
Yeah, I could put,
Here to help me clarify what your question is. I just want to make sure I get it right
Yeah.
in minutes. So,
So under entertainment,
Yep.
it's saying that for an hourly rental fee, you could rent like Millside to do like a party or a yoga class or smaller. And I'm asking, it just says businesses.
Oh,
Can we
okay.
clarify to
I can add
other
like,
residents?
family functions and
Yeah.
private,
Yeah.
family functions and private parties. I don't want to, family. Since I'm trying to get away from the gray areas of people saying, well, it's just a family function, and they had
Right.
150 people there.
Yeah,
yeah.
like smaller.
Small gatherings.
Less than,
Yeah, I'll put
I mean, you
small
could limit it.
gatherings.
yeah, less than 20 people or less than.
Yeah, small private gatherings are eligible for hourly rental rates. So, yeah, I'll tidy that up.
Yeah.
Small private gatherings.
And then to your point, maybe add a limit for what that actually includes, because you could have
I'll put like 2
your
hours.
small gathering might not be the same as somebody else's
Yeah.
small gathering.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
do 2 hour max, and
I think it's hard to put a number though, because like what if, one of the businesses in East
Yeah.
Works like has like 25 employees and we put a limit of 20.
Yeah.
So,
I'll put 2 hour max.
yeah,
Or
on there,
is there
'cause-
some sort of language you could put with like, we have the right to say like, no, sorry, like give more information when you're reserving, like.
That's why it says
hey, I'm
contact
bringing
Parks and
50 people.
Recreations
Yeah.
for terms.
Okay, so. that
Because
kind of
what I like to do is when someone sends a vague thing out, we'd like to have no site on whatever day it is.
Mhm.
If we get information, I usually have Sam send back, well, what type of event are you looking
Yeah.
for? And I try to get it, and then I say, okay, here's our policies.
That kind
Here's,
of reserves it.
here's where, and then we can discuss, whether it's, because it says about the alcohol, the size of the event, whether they're bringing food trucks, they need to get board of health approval, so things like that. So when they, I try to get those questions answered before we go down any further down a cost or exactly what they're looking to do. So that's kind of why that's in there for them to contact
Mhm.
us before. And most people are generally very good about being upfront and honest on what functions and size.
And out in the open, you can't really lie.
Yeah.
People speak it.
Especially with cameras. So I'll make that addition in there.
and it's like the hourly rental rate based on kind of what, like their size and what they're doing. Okay,
Yeah. And that's,
so that'll also be like in the contract.
yeah.
Any other questions? So take a motion to approve the changes for the policies.
Motion to approve the change in the policy with the updated language surrounding personal use
Yeah.
and private functions,
Small private.
small private functions, however. If we were to.
And second,
Sure.
and Brian?
Yes.
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 Kira? Yes.
All right.
Motion approved.
Then just to stay on policies and features, because we're gonna have some events coming up this fall, this year, that I've been contacted about. I don't have further information on it. The Heavy Cultural Co-op is looking to do a concert at some point. I reached out to them, told them to call me. I set up a meeting with them, haven't heard back. There's a Fairy Fest, which they're looking to set the world record for the most people dressed as fairies. And they're gonna be on Daily Field
We
in
know
the
what that
fall.
number is?
I think the record is 783 or something like that.
That's nothing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it was done in
Yeah.
Portland, Maine is the previous location. So that, they were looking at Millside, I'm like, no, you're not. Daily Field is where it's happening based on everything that's.
You know about the Association of Mrs. Ropers? Remember Mrs. Roper from
Yeah.
Three's Company?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like people go out dressed like in gangs as Mrs. Roper. Yeah. That would be,
Well, we can find out the world
I think
record
we need to find some world
because maybe next year we'll go for that one.
that's what I'm saying.
Maybe
If
every
you
year
wanna
we'll
set a world
try for.
record, Daily Field
Yeah,
is really
Exactly.
still
We'll
good.
keep adding
Do you
that.
advertise it, Mark?
And then Arts in the Park will be moving down to over to Daily Field as well, so. So any other kind of events that might happen like that, we'll be looking for usage at Daily Field.
Great. All right, anything else, policy and fees? So CPA projects.
So dog park, I'm meeting with a few folks from the dog park group to review the memorandum of understanding that we presented to them a year ago at this point. And we're meeting on the 28th at 11:30 in my office. I'm not sure who's attending from the dog park folks, but we're going to kind of review that and see where they're at. And we haven't touched base since probably November, so it's good to get back down and have face to face as we keep moving further into that project. Any questions on skate park? We have signed contracts with GZA regarding design, construction docks, basically soup to nuts for their services. We'll be meeting, I'm meeting with the skate park, well, meeting, but it's just Jeff and Eddie, who's who I meet with on a regular basis. We have a conference call next Wednesday. And then GZA, myself and Eddie and Jeff will meet for a kickoff meeting. They will start doing site survey work in the meantime. They've already, Jeff and Eddie have seen the contract. They're all good with how GZA's laid out the scope of work, so everything's in place and ready to go. So we'll start seeing some movement on that. Like Kira said, July 1st, the park grant, you know, they say 2 years, it's actually 17 months because you have to be done by June 1st of 2027. So we have to be looking at construction in July, and the state's gonna wanna know why it hasn't happened. So things are gonna move pretty quickly on design, and GZA has been involved in this whole process, so I'm not anticipating any hiccups, but construction docks and all this stuff will be going out fairly quickly. You know, I would say hopefully by end of March or mid-April, to get those out and then get contracts awarded by June 1st. So a contractor can be mobilized and ready to go for that time frame. And in the bid docs will be the stipulation based on that time frame. Like there will be fines, kind of like what we did with the pool. It's X number of dollars if you're not finished by June 1st. And so, you know, there's a penalty for making sure that this work gets completed on time.
Do you say June 1st for those contracts or July 1st?
June 1st of 2027 for the whole
Okay.
kit and caboodle has to be done,
Okay.
wrapped up, everything. This work, the design work, funding has to be spent, all that stuff has to be done before July 1st and spent and off the books.
John, in regards to the design, is that something that we will have a say in
Yeah,
other
so we're,
projects, or?
yeah, so they're, I don't have the timeline in front of me. There'll be a kickoff meeting, there'll be a 50% design review, and that's when we'll kind of all meet together, and discuss that. I think that's gonna be probably a March meeting where GZA will have, and then when we go to 90% would be probably the month after, middle of April, they'd be at my 90% design. I'd have to look at the exact timing, which I can on my computer, of the layout of time. But yes, there's 2 checkpoints for design and review.
Okay. And I apologize. I didn't want to have you guys with all the road noise, so I do have a rest stop now. I had a question regarding the daily field. How would we be collecting money? Like, how are we going to be able to funnel people in? Are there some that are like just prepaid tickets, or if I get to daily field, how do we make sure that we're collecting the fees for
It's
Millside?
not gonna be our responsibility making sure they're collecting fees, but right now, there's no scheduled ticketed events at Daily Field as of yet. But
Okay.
it would be on them, kind of like what we did at Millside, where you have that orange, temporary,
Fencing.
The fencing?
that snow fencing, they call it. And that would be, put around as much as they could do. But it'd be on them to manage, any ticketing event that they have.
Okay. Okay. Perfect.
We're not
And
planning.
here, I did like that idea about, setting up tables and, for the passes and the pools. I didn't know if the same thing could be done with the season passes, but
Yeah, we did that last year. We'll just add the pool passes to it.
perfect.
We do the season
That's
pass.
all.
Yeah, and actually, just to go back to the smartest idea, I mean, you have lots of smart ideas, but the smartest idea was at the trunk or treat, when you put the upcoming events for the park, for the dates for the Harvest Fest and the Rag Shack Parade on the lollipops when they gave them to kids. So they all had, so like all the parents knew what those dates were and when they were coming, and I felt like that was good advertising.
Yeah.
So they're looking at March meeting, 60% design development. April would be 90% design development. And then they're looking for bid out in May, with closing the bid out, June 1st, with, collection is their anticipated schedule from GZA. So like I said, it'd be March and April would be our timing of, looking at schematics.
Any questions about the skate park?
Spray park, because we're going fast and furious with the 17-month timeline for park grant, the federal Land Water Conservation Fund grant is 2.5, almost 3 years. So I told Mike Owens that we pump the brakes until March 1st before we put together the design package for bidding out for design work for that. So we're gonna kind of be 60 days behind the skate park. So we always know we're catching up with the skate park, but we're kind of filling those gaps when we can with timing. So instead of lumping things in and having a potential of things falling through the cracks, I'd rather make sure we're spacing these projects out to be making sure we're managing them in a proper manner where we do it right.
And the hope is to break ground on the spray park after the pool season.
After the pool season, yeah.
So March 1st again is what you're hoping for?
March 1st is when we'll be pushing, similar to what we did with GZA, contract design, scope of work, that kind of stuff. I have most of it done because I had it done previous before we even went through this whole process. So this will go much easier and quicker because I do have all the schematics and everything pretty much ready to go for the next phase.
Any questions on the spray park? Comments? I'm excited. Yeah, that one.
Yeah, that's historical designation, Pioneer Valley Planning Commission contract signed, everything's all set. They're working their process. It's going to take like a year, but any updates I get on that, we'll continue to move forward. CPA master plan, public meeting on the March 19th. Carrie, you want to give it?
Yeah, I'll give an update. So this is, CPA is gonna have, two meetings in March. One is our regular meeting, and then the public meeting is going to be just dedicated to reviewing a CPA master plan with the public. It's going to be March 19th. It's going to be in the City Hall chambers to accommodate more people. Ava is going to go to, I think, one of the winter markets, and during Winterfest, she's going to have a table out to be able to elicit information from the community about their input on what they'd like to see in the preservation plan. She has elicited information from us. So the open space goals are protect and connect lands of natural resource, scenic and ecosystem value, and then steward lands of natural resource, scenic and ecosystem value for their long-term ecological health. And then under each, you don't have to type all that.
Say, can you
You
email
can
me that
reference, you
wording?
can reference the plan.
Okay. Seed plan.
Yeah. And I mean, that is mostly with kind of the Conservation Commission and their work, but like we decided to put past project examples under each goal as opposed to like what potential projects might be, as to show like we're not showing any favor towards potential projects coming in. But like the Nashwanik Pond work, the retaining wall and stuff that we had talked about at a previous meeting towards the end of last year, like that would be one of those projects. So I wanted to share that. And then the recreation goals are enhancing and improving existing recreational facilities and making sure it meets the needs for residents in the 21st century. So examples of our past projects that meet that goal are Nonotuck Pool renovation, Mutterfield and Brickyard Brook accessible trail, the Manhan Rail Trail improvements, and the Spray Park renovations. And then the second goal is expanding our recreational facilities and opportunities to accommodate a variety of ages and abilities. So that includes the Mount Tom North Trailhead, Pleasant Green New Park, the skate park, and the 2 times that we did pickleball court projects. So that is listed there. And then there's also an appendix where there's community projects of priority moving forward. So based on what we had sent her from our previous meeting, she included the pool house renovation, the stone house building renovation, wayfinding projects, so installing that signage, both downtown and in Nonotuck and Millside, talking about creating like QR codes for trail mapping and the different park amenities, including park history, how you can donate to the park, and then a signage and mapping system in the park trail system. Nonotuck playground improvements, additional fencing, parking, and ADA features, and then trail improvements, which was more kind of general, not having a scope determined at this point. But she reached out to, all the other commissions. She reached out to the schools, kind of different community partners to see what projects they might be interested. So that'll all be included in the appendix. And tomorrow is our next meeting. So I don't know for sure, but it looks like she created a Google form that it seems like it might be posted to get priorities from the community on the types of projects that they, around those goal areas. What do they see as the highest priority? So I'm excited. I think it's, Ava's doing a really nice job, including community input and community partners. And so I'm hoping everyone attends the March 19th meeting.
What time is that? That's why I didn't.
6
6
o'clock,
o'clock.
I believe. Although our meetings start at 6:30.
That's why I didn't
6:30.
That's why I didn't put a time there, because I was thinking 6, but then I know you guys start at 6:30 normally.
Yeah, I can actually,
So in the February meeting, we'll make sure we have a full.
I can tell you. Yeah, it's gonna be 6:30.
6:30. 6 on my calendar.
Any questions about the CPA plan or thoughts about projects? I mean, we've talked about it a couple meetings now.
They've done this in the past and it's been great. It hasn't been done in
Been
probably
many years.
5 or 6 years.
It's supposed to be updated every year.
Yeah, I think it's been 5 or 6 years since the last time it was done, but and it was a pretty good, it was upstairs in city council chambers, and it was a pretty full crowd up there. So, hopefully the same.
Okay. So budget.
So, all right, current budget. Yeah, we're muddling along. I'm gonna kind of bounce around here. So, I met with, Connie, our new city council president today. Was nice. She came into my office. She wanted to know, well, how city council can support our goals of where we would like to go and where we're heading. In the maintenance building, was one of her, things that she really wants to make sure gets done. And I appreciated that. And she was actually meeting with Mayor Derby after, we met today. So I'm not sure how that went, but, she was going to express that to him as well. And the other thing was the rec coordinator position. I really want to see city council get behind that, as well. So those two, were made. I mean, she knows our other projects and everything else are going, but those two things I think we really need a push on, and we need support from city council. So, we had some good discussions on that. So to segue into, I have a meeting with Emily, our HR director, next Wednesday at 9:00 regarding the rec coordinator position, because I am submitting it in our FY27 budget.
Awesome.
With
That's great.
a plan of, I don't want the person to start July 1, because it just they'd be just swimming. They'd probably turn around and leave, to start in that disaster. But looking at like mid-September to really help be available for when EBA kind of gets rolling, and with soccer and those. So it would be in our budget, but it would be kind of prorated out for 75% of this year. So we have to put together a job description. It has to get in the pay plan. So there's a lot of work that needs to happen between now and July 1st. But we are going to be working on getting that all squared away. And like I said, I am throwing it in the budget this year. The time has come. We wrote out last year. I think the city has kind of resolved some of those funding and job issues with hours cuts, and some of those other things have been resolved. And that's why we didn't kind of push on this previously. But I feel that it's time to go full steam ahead on this. So that's where we're at on that. And
Thank you.
I'll say thinking from a parent of youth and wanting more rec stuff and being on the boards. Thank you.
Yeah, and it's not just gonna be for the youth, it's, the adult program, but
Yeah,
like I told Connie today, I'm like, you lay out everything I have in front of me on top of really being involved with the pool and camp more than I really should be. And always, it's like, it's the rubber's at the road here. It's over. It's got to happen. The time is
keep growing. It has to.
Yeah. And so
our community is growing
and
there
there's more
wants and needs
expectations
to
out of our
grow.
department. And now it's, let's make sure we have a staff that's helping, adult program, youth program, all, senior program, everything that's available. So,
And the intent is for this to be a full-time.
year round.
Okay.
Yep. 35 hours.
That was my question. Yep.
Full-time year round.
35 hours?
Yeah, that's full time for the city. They don't do 40.
Okay.
Actually, there's some are even 32 as considered full time. I'm looking at a 35-hour a week position.
This was my first job out of undergrad for the Northampton Rec Department, and it was a 20-hour position, and it was impossible at 20 hours. So I'm happy to hear
it's gonna be near impossible.
Yeah, I know.
35 during the busy time. Like,
Right.
thank God that, like, I say there's downtime, but there really isn't any downtime anymore for us. Even in the winter time, it's still
Sure, yeah.
Well,
knocked down.
In theory, though, and I don't know if we're really supposed to like get into it too much, but in theory, it's kind of they're helping the boards that would still be on for the youth programs.
Yes.
Really. So it's not like all the youth programs are being thrown
No.
at that person.
No.
They're gonna be kind of helping and then be able to develop.
There will still be a liaison.
So
with
that's
all the-
slightly different from what my.
Yeah, no, there's still be a liaison for all this.
Cause we can't send the money.
Yeah, that they have to, so there could be a coordinating between the two,
Yeah.
so. So yeah, that's where we're at.
Very exciting.
You want to talk about the meeting we had, and then
Sure.
I can talk about my meeting I have with, the mayor tomorrow.
John, Carolyn, and I met with Mayor Derby, on December 11th to let him know the priority is the maintenance building. There's a whole department of city employees who are functioning without a place to work, right now, and the issues that it's creating, not only for how we treat our employees, but also that they aren't able to access the things they need to do the work that they need this winter, with the maintenance, of the equipment, all the sign work that you do, new signs, updating the old signs, kind of taking care of that maintenance stuff to get ready for the opening. And because of that, work is having to be contracted out, which is costing the city more money. So it's also a financial burden on the city. And so we presented this to Mayor Derby and really talked about like, this has to go forward now. And his response was he wanted to wait until the free cash was certified, so he knew what he had, and he was going to weigh it against other priorities in the city to determine next steps. So we agreed to wait until that happened, and that we would schedule a meeting again with him after that, but that we can't imagine there's another priority higher than providing a workspace for city employees. So we are advocating very hard for that. And, you know, I know John is looking into supplemental options for funding potential grants, or is there money from the state to supplement, but really it has to be, we think it needs to be bonded in order to do that, because there isn't that much free cash to do this project, which could be between 3.5 and 4.5 million for the project. And we articulated that this is way long overdue. It has been needed for a long time. And so while that sounds like a big number compared to other departments and the money they've received in that time, it's actually a pretty small ask comparatively. And I know that they're thinking, or not thinking, they're looking towards doing a council on aging building as well. But their needs are not as, they're not on a timeline like we are. They have a place to be while things are worked out. And so we made sure that that was clear as well. So at this time we have, I know you'll be meeting with him probably a couple times before then for that and other things, but we plan to follow up at the end of January with him at the end of this month to see where things are at and if we could move forward. And it sounds like we're ready to move forward with the bid docs once we get the okay.
Yeah, so after that meeting, I met with EDM Studios, who did our initial work, and circled back with them to discuss, you know, the cost for contract, bid docs, all that associated. And, you know, they were great. They're like, you know, I'll give you the number, but don't pursue it until you know you're going to be building a building. It's not fiscally wise to have you pay us another $60,000, $70,000 to get all this work done and have it sit on someone's lap for the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years, whatever, if they delay this out. He says, you need to wrap this up in with the bid, in the cost of the project, and we'd be happy to bid on our services with that. So I completely agree with him 100%, that, you know, we had the 10,000 foot study done and feasibility work done, and they gave us a general idea, and now we know where we have to go. And he said, you know, get that funded, and we'd be happy to be a part of that. So they were very good to work with. for projects, and I'd use EDM Studio again for work, because they were thorough and they did a nice job. But so that's where we're at with that. I do have the numbers, what it would cost on for their services, and that's for everything. That's construction supervision all the way through. It's right for around $350,000 for their services, from design, bid docs, all the way through construction, the whole thing. So that's roughly what they came up with. So we have a, ballpark, but that would be included in the cost of the project. I have a meeting with Mayor Derby tomorrow at 11 to see where the focus is on the maintenance building. There seems he might have some plans for a recreation complex of some sort, which is news to me and everybody in this room. So I'm going to meet with him and align our visions to make sure that, as I said to him in August when he was warm in the seat, I don't like surprise parties for me or giving them for him or whoever's sitting in the mayor's seat. And we'll have that conversation tomorrow, that we appreciate the support and the potential support for moving us forward. But those types of conversations need to go before me and relay it to you folks, before word gets out into the public of, geez, I hear you're building a new recreation complex.
Like 35,000 seat wiffle ball.
Yeah. So I will have a follow-up. I'll have a meeting regarding that tomorrow and kind of get, my concern is when I hear a recreation complex, I don't hear the maintenance thing. Like, is it all inclusive, or where are we going with this whole grand scheme and idea that's he's floating out there? I was contacted through the planning department because they were asking about a parcel of land for this. So that's how I got word of such an idea. So I'll have more details after tomorrow, but I think we'll have an enlightening conversation tomorrow. So that's where we're at with budget. We still do not have a budget letter. I'm going to move forward on our line item regarding personnel, regardless of getting a budget letter. And then I can just make the percentages of how and if the city's going to find any raises or support, or however they plan on doing it. It's a little trickier. I had a meeting with the treasurer before this meeting. It's a little trickier for this department because we have 59 hours over 2 weeks. We have 40 hours over 2 weeks. We have 80-hour staff. We have so many people working so many different hours, so many different weeks for the year. We don't have I have 3 employees that I know what their salary will be for the year based on they work 52 weeks and this is what they're paid, and everything else I have. And I do this for camp because I budget camp at the same time that I'm budgeting this. I'm looking at 100 different salaries and wages that I have to, kind of coordinate and make sure I'm matching up and do it. And then be told to revisit is a lot of extra work for my time, but it's just a lot. So I have to get it going on it, and I'll see when the letter comes through about exactly what we're doing. The state will not release their funding revenue stream of what's going back to cities and towns and school districts until the end of the month, January 28th. So there's always a target that we're trying to budget on anticipated numbers when we don't know what the state's going to provide. It's for me to figure out.
Now, will Emily be the one to kind of look at comparable cities and towns and positions for the rec coordinator?
Yeah,
She'll come up with a starting salary.
Yeah, so one of the things that's good, and when I have my meeting on the 5th with the Pioneer Valley Park and Rec Association, is we kind of go, John, what do you got? And they'll be like, okay, we're looking at adding the coordinator position. I'm going to send out an email to everybody. I need a survey back. And we actually just did a survey for, I think it's 15 different things that, we're dealing with. Camp salaries, pool salaries, vehicle usage, what departments, do you have fields at your department? Do you have DPW do it? So we're, it's a great group because we're all engaged with each other and want to help each other out, but we have so much material, so I can go into the Google file and say, oh, I know Wilbraham's paying for lifeguards. I know what Northampton's paying. We all entered our information in there so we can all kind of gauge where we're at with what we're doing, trying to make sure we're staying in line. But unfortunately, we're not going to stay in line with Wilbraham. I see what they're paying people. Holy cow. Might go be their pool manager.
That Brian Litz.
Yeah. Got a good budget over there.
Yeah.
Seasonal, so budget, so we'll have more, and once again, it'll be a turnaround. Once I know what we are, I'll reach out to everybody and say, okay, our next meeting is this. We'll do the budget review and, kind of highlight where we're at with those types of things. So plan on seeing, definitely in our February meeting, we'll have a budget review before it's a submittal. Seasonal positions, I've posted I've given human resources all our seasonal positions to be posted for hiring for this season. Couple of things on seasonal. There's a mass hires doing an event at the high school on April 16th from 10 to 12. We're going to have a table over there for high school kids to apply for lifeguard camp, whatever it may be. So I usually end my camp postings before April vacation, so we can do interviews during April vacation, but we might extend it out after that date. So if there's anyone that comes through, they could be interested in a job of what we have. So we'll look at those. I told Sam, I posted these on Monday. Mass hire sent it today just to notify that it was going on. So I'll tweak it when we get closer, but we will have a presence there for that hiring.
When will that be again?
April 16th at the high school, 10 to 2 or 10 to 12. We are participating in the senior tax work credit program again. Last year, we actually hired that person at the end of their shift to continue on Sundays for the toll booth. This year, we had someone interested in doing toll booth on Sundays. I said, no, we're hiring Mike back. But I asked them, would they be interested in Saturday mornings from 8 to noon to help out Jeremy? And they are. So we are going to have a second toll booth worker helping Jeremy out on Saturday mornings as part of the senior tax work program. So I think that can help expedite the toll booth if it's there or not, but that's coming down a little bit here. So it wonderful news. I just, hopefully they like it, ride it out, and it's a short shift. I don't want them there for 8 hours, 4 hours, help out, and give Jeremy the assistance that he can to help folks at the gate. Family Skate started last week. Huge numbers in the first week already. Huge crowd. Wonderful. People love it. A couple of programs that we haven't had in the past regarding the kind of like this, lack of a better term, the walkers, that the learn to skate ones, they were locked up. So we got to make sure those are available for folks. But other than that, people love it. It's a great program, and we're glad to partner with Williston to help us provide that.
Who collects the fee there?
We do. So my security team, my security team. So it's usually Joe, but Wayne will be doing it this Sunday because Joe's not available. So Wayne will probably do 2 of the 8 weeks, 2 of the 8. Joe will probably do the other 6. But yeah, they handle it. So usually I take them off payroll, but because we had some events at Millside, Jubilation, we had the Hanukkah event. They had to work, then they started to skate, so we just keep them, they don't work many hours, but we keep them on payroll to handle any kind of events that might happen in winter time for us. Maintenance building, I touched on meeting with Salem again tomorrow. Connie's gonna help drive that, for us, and we'll see where we're at. New City Playground, the planning department put in for a land water conservation fund grant, for the Parson side, the small piece out front. They submitted that. I reviewed it, signed off on it as well. Looks great. The state is coming out here on February 4th. Melissa, who does all our park and water, is doing a site visit. So I'm going to go with Johanna, and be there for the site visit. It's at 4 o'clock on that Thursday. I believe that's a Thursday. So we'll so hopefully, fingers crossed, that would be great to score another grant, to get that parcel moving forward and updated, and then we can look at the next one behind it. Toll booth, old and continuing business. So I have designs from the city engineers, that got to me Monday or Tuesday. And then at 5 o'clock tonight, I got the cost estimates associated with, because this is, kind of a topic that the neighborhood's been excited about and involved in. I don't want to get into too much of it, and I want to post it on next agenda. And then I will get out the numbers and the plans that were submitted to me, to you guys, so you have them and you can see. I brought them with me. I don't want to talk numbers because I didn't dive into it, because some of this stuff is in-house work that we can do. And some of this stuff I've talked to DPW, Greg and Jimmy from DPW, that they can help us with too. So I don't want to give anybody a number and get them gun shy on the project when I know it's not going to be that number. And we received from $2,265.62 from the bus company for when they smashed our toll booth. That was the insurance.
Wow.
So I signed off on it. $2,265.62. So that will go into an account that will be used towards the toll booth relocation fund.
I was there that day. I came home from a soccer game.
Yeah, there's a lot of people there. It was kind of funny how many people were sending me videos and calling. And like,
I didn't do
Brian, one of them, like, oh my goodness, that bus just whacked and turned the whole building around.
Yeah, we heard it. It was loud. We heard it. I didn't see it, but I heard it.
Excuse me. So for next meeting, we'll have the toll booth entry will be on there. The elections will be back on there. Then we'll have updates on all the other projects that we're moving forward. And then budget will be our main discussion point. But once again, I will get all the budget information out to you guys in advance. So if there's any questions that are really concerned, the personnel piece will be, that's what it is contractually. That's what those numbers are. Then we look at what our expense line is and where we usually get, go up 3%. And as you can see, our electricity is going to be up like 27%. And that's our biggest nugget in our budget is electricity. So to cover that shortfall, I've never gone to city council in 16 years and asked them for a nickel because we didn't need budget, but it's going to be a challenge with how much electricity has cost us this year. I actually pulled the breakers on the poles and shut them off completely. So we're just getting delivery charges on like 4 of our meters because it's out of control.
That was one thing that was listed in like a future project for the pool house. It talked about solar panels on top, and I wonder if we talk about the maintenance building too and putting solar on there as well.
We would put
To offset the
anything
costs.
possible to offset costs. And
Like The bubble has that.
It would, yeah, we'd be. The solar savings that we were supposed to receive back when Mayor Mike was here, when they built the solar field out. I don't know who's getting the savings, but it's never fed down to the Park and Rec Department regarding savings on the electricity from that solar project.
So does each
That's right,
department
we have
pay
it
their
in-
own electricity?
Yes, yep. Well, DPW has their own, but like here, their offices are here, so it's basically just DPW and us and school that pays their own. We have our
Yes,
own.
I-
Because our fees are going up because of school electricity, they were told.
Yeah, the electricity is. The
They're
pool,
city facilities, like it's not like you asked which facility to work in, because if you worked here, you wouldn't have it on your own. It
On
would
your own,
vary
yeah,
between
yeah.
everybody else.
the only thing we do as a city is we negotiate our delivery charges as a city as a whole. So Mike did that. Mike Owens did that last spring. But delivery charges, we had a tree fall in the park, takes down the line that goes to the pool. It happened twice in 4 months. Our delivery charges went from $50 a month for delivery charges to 1 month it was like $450 for delivery charges. So that work that they did to restore those lines, we pay for eventually, but through delivery charges. We pay for it. Because 1 month, I'm looking at $8 delivery charge on one bill and 300 something on another one. And it's, oh, that's right, because, the soccer kind of complex, when that phase got whacked. The Little League, when that one got whacked, it's like, yeah, and there's nothing you can do. There's your delivery charge, you're paying for it. It's, I'm not going to get into the regulation of energy in this state, but it's a whole different story, but yeah, it is outrageous.
The only thing, just to clarify, because I'm not sure if you put it in the calendar for the city, the 2 CPA meetings for February and March are listed at 6 o'clock.
Okay.
So I don't know if your notes indicated 6:30,
I did
if you
say
put it in the
6:30.
notes, but. And maybe it will be updated eventually, but it does have,
Okay.
as.
We'll confirm for February's
Yeah.
meeting to make sure we're on point
Yeah.
for.
I have the CPA meeting.
Yeah, I just didn't want to have it in our notes if somebody.
Yeah, it says it on our
Not that
meeting
somebody's gonna look for our
schedule,
notes for the-
like
yeah.
that. So I think it's probably, the only thing is the CPA meeting might be, for the plan, might be at 6 instead of 6:30, but our usual meeting time is 6:30.
Yeah, that's February and March are all the CPA meetings are at 6, but it could just be a typo
Yeah.
in the calendar since it's early.
Okay, I'll check
For
in
my
with you.
purposes, I'm playing it safe and
Yeah.
saying it is on March 19th,
Sorry.
2026.
Yeah, exactly.
Last thing John needs somebody yelling at him at the wrong time.
And then we don't have meeting minutes to approve this time. I apologize, was just for leaving. I did not review the notes myself to make edits and then get them to John in time for this meeting. So we'll review them for our next meeting, for approval. But I did send the, September and October
Yeah, we're caught up
meetings
through.
for the city. So we are all caught up except for our November minutes on the city website.
And if you want to get a good laugh, you go through the minutes that are missing from
Every other department.
every other department and city council. You look at city council, you're like, oh, wait a minute.
We run a tight ship here.
Yeah, like, we haven't said anything since February, last year for many minutes.
That's probably why I couldn't find any of this stuff. I was like,
So our next meeting is February 11th, 2026, 6 PM, right here, City Hall basement conference room.
So they've sent out a thing, we'll have our same Google link in this location on the second Wednesday of every month. So they
We're reserved for.
city clerk sent it out to all departments that have meetings, night meetings, and said, okay, and they said, okay, we're locking you in for the entire year. This is your spot. So I don't have to go chasing around and like, we begged this room this time or anything like that. So
Yeah, and I mean, just looking at what we have coming up, like, the need for large rooms is not quite as dire as it
Yeah,
was
this is
over the last
yeah.
couple of years.
this is a good spot for
Yeah.
us right here.
would the toll talk bring more people though, if you put that on, or not really, depending on what, if it's more detailed, I feel like on the agenda, maybe people won't really be.
I'm sure we'll get a few, because it'll be, but not, I don't think we're
I
gonna
don't think
get
at any point so far we've.
you know, it's not gonna be a crazy because they might just be interested in, so I'll give you a quick overview. There's the top of the hill by the basketball court where the DPW road is to the sewer treatment plant. There's a single lane, single lane design. There's a single lane, the toll booth, double lane, which is what we would have. And then there's the one down in the park based on fire hydrants and infrastructure. It's only single lane. That the one that's way down there. So, and they measured, they measured everything out. They put, they got because it would be the building, the one, if it goes double lane up top, the electrical's right above us, just dropping a line straight out of the sky, basically, and we're ready to go. If we go into the park, we're trenching, we're digging up roads, Mandy gave me the numbers based on not counting any way to provide electrical services. So these are just rough numbers for concrete, for the curbing and the asphalt and the design work and, the infrastructure of it. So going electric and having it come straight down below, it's a major cost savings in the end. And that would be my preference of where it needs to go.
The whole idea was that we'd have 2 lanes.
It would be 2
one
lanes,
for people who
especially if we get
paths,
someone who
and one
could
for
work
people who-
4 hours and be like, we have the express lane for,
Right.
for passes. There's your express lane. Yep.
Yeah.
Waving them through, just like
From Thursday.
send them in Kim.
Wendell Kim, yeah, exactly.
All right. If there's nothing else, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second, yeah.
Safe driving, Ryan.
Brian?
Yeah, I'll continue my drive now. Thank you, guys. And yes, I approve motion to adjourn. Yes.
That's right. Yes. Eric?
I learned this week that according to Robert's rules, you don't really need to do a note.
Motion to
You
adjourn.
just, if you left off everything in the agenda, you can just say, okay.
We're
Just
done. We're
the
done.
chair, when the chair says the meeting is adjourned, that's it.
We are adjourned.
Okay.
This government meeting is brought to you by Eastworks and our local cable subscribers.